Now, from your perspective, are you pitched down or pitched up? It looks level because it's, it's just metal on the mounting bracket. Yeah, but there's 1-2 degrees. Okay. And I think that's what prevents it, because it's right, just like last time. The alignment guide is facing the slot, really nicely in the middle. It doesn't go in because of the pitch, I think. Okay, so you want me to try to pitch up? Pitch down now. Pitch down. Okay. Don't go anywhere, I'll do like last time. I'll come forward. Need more force. Yeah. Ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Try to make the lining even more pull on the center part. Pull on the center. Pull towards me? Yeah. And then push. Okay. Okay, it looks like it lines there. Line. Okay.
Well done, you two.
Okay. Go and then ready for pushing. Pushing and pulling.
And Thomas, check the right mode soft capture feature is down.
That's a good call, Jenny. He's not up. That's why we're not going anywhere. A good call. Okay, now it's down.
4 hours, 22 minutes into the spacewalk, Pesquet and Kimbrough using the troubleshooting methods that were developed following the first spacewalk back on June 16th.
All right, ran. We're done. Soft capture is up.
We copy. Well done, you two.
That's fun.
All right. So at this point, hardware meets the minimal structural configuration for mating cables during eclipse. We are going to push with driving R7 and R8, the hinge bolts. Shane, you're currently in position, but we understand you might want Thomas to drive these bolts.
All right, you can drive for sure. On my PGT.
The two spacewalkers using a bit of elbow grease and the troubleshooting techniques of jostling the array into its firm capture position achieved success, setting the stage for the driving of a series of bolts, hinge restraints, to make sure that the array is securely fastened to the mounting bracket at the base of the P6 solar array truss structure.
I'm hopping out. Thank you, sir. Obstacle. Broken shape. On tomorrow, I gotta come back out. Good. Sorry, what? Gotta come back around the same frame, sorry. That's good. All around. Nice. Hey, Jenny, I'm ready for settings for R8.
Alpha 1, clockwise 2.
Alpha 1, clockwise 2.
We're driving these bolts 13 turns only.
13 turns.
Jenny Seide, the Canadian Space Agency astronaut who's the spacewalk communicator, providing guidance to Kimbrough and Pesquet as they now will use a pistol grip tool to drive a pair of bolts. Those are hinge restraints to make sure that we are in the process of securely tightening up, if you will, the unfolded solar array to its mounting bracket at the base of the P6 truss. So it's unfolding followed by unfurling to get this array out to its full length of 60 feet to begin generating power to augment the current power output of the P6 arrays.
Then you have 13 turns. Alpha 1, clockwise 2.
Copy, 13 turns on R8. If you can reach R7 from your current position, we want 13 turns only on R7, same settings.
Work. Thirteen turns on R7, same settings, Jenny.
Copy, 13 turns on R7. You can stow your PGT. Once Shane is ready, he can hand you the AMS knob from the crew lock bag.
Come on. I got one more wire tie here. Okay. Off that. Can you hear somewhere? Yeah, it's going to be buried on that side. Okay. Have to pull out everything. Is that okay? Well, I can help you now. Yeah.
While you're in the crew lock bag, we'll also need the cap keeper shortly.
Okay. Cap keeper?
We're looking for the
So,
AMS knob first.
got it. And now 2 turns, right? Anywhere for you on R8, Jenny.
Copy. You're just looking to tighten until snug.
Returns. Yeah, 4 turns, Jenny, R8, snug. Now hop off the HFR to access R7.
A-firm, and I copy 4 turns R8 snug.
Sorry. Jenny, just so you, I got the wire tie in my trash bag, and I got the adjustable that was attached to it as well on my mini.
Copy, Shane.
And I'm ready. Snug. Back to you, Shane. Okay, and the capkeeper's right there.
Same number of turns, Toma?
4 turns, Jenny, just like the other one.
Copy, 4 turns. R7 is snug. You're right. Next step is the capkeeper. We'll be removing the NZGL caps on IROSA.
Right, so you too far. Across the roll. All right. NZGL.
Shane, if not already complete, you can stow the scoops in the crew lock bag.
Okay, I'm going to wait till all this is done, so.
Understood.
Whew. Tough one? Yeah, it was, I'm sorry, snug. All right. That's mountains. View. Must be Canada. Yeah. Back to you.
Copy, all 4 NZGL caps are removed. You can stow the capkeeper in the crew lock bag with the AMS knob and the scoops. Shane, I have a big picture update for both of you.
Go ahead, Jenny.
We are 4.5 hours into our EVA. That's a PET, 4.5 hours. Our next working eclipse start is in 43 minutes. So at this time, we are going to continue with driving M bolts. We'll get NZGL connectors mated at IROSA, and then we will push to cleanup steps to get ourselves in the best possible config prior to the eclipse, and then look at mating cables and finishing up.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And our limiting consumable is still EV2's battery at 7 hours, 50 minutes, 50.
Hey, Jimmy, I got everything back in the crew lock bag.
Okay, copy. Well done, Shane. We're going to be using your PTT to drive M bolts. Understand you want to split these bolts up. We do not need to be in the APFR to do them, and we'll start with M35.
This is Mission Control Houston, 4 hours, 34 minutes into the spacewalk by Pesquet and Kimbrough. You heard the big picture words from spacewalk communicator Jenny Seide, indicating that we are now going to press ahead since the array is structurally secured to the mounting bracket at the base of the P6 truss. Pesquet and Kimbrough will work in tandem to drive a series of 8 attachment bolts to further secure the array in place, after which new cables
Good work.
will be mated to the rollout solar array connectors. They can be connected prior to the International Space Station flying in a nighttime pass. The Eclipse or nighttime pass connectors that are required mate the new cables to the current solar arrays on the International Space Station so that we have an integrated power capability through the electronics assembly for the P6 truss power channels, those being the 2B channel that was hooked up last Sunday and the 4B channel that's in the process of being hooked up today. So we have to wait for the next nighttime pass of the station that occurs about 44 minutes from now in order to be able to hook up new electrical cables to what is called the legacy solar array wing, the existing solar array wing on the P6 truss. The crew is making good time. We are assessing what kind of get-ahead work in cleaning up some of the tools and tethers used earlier in the spacewalk, what sort of work we can do to get a bit ahead of the game while the crew is waiting for that next nighttime pass to take place to finish up the actual electrical connections of the new rollout solar array to the International Space Station.
One black line. Should get to a 40 grade 4.
Back with you after handover. Say torque turns and green light.
It's a red shape.
Again for 35.
Stand by, Jenny. Stand by. Bye. Okay, M35 is driven. I got green lights, 22.2 torque, and I have 1155 rating. 34 is next.
Copy, 22.2 on the torque, green.
Black on black.
Green light.
Black line flush, Jenny.
And 11.5 turns black line flush. You can move on to the next bolt, Thomas.
Yep, M34 in settings.
Bravo 5, counter 2.
Settings. Bravo 5 counter.
Correction.
The only one I can get.
Thomas, correction. Bravo 5, clockwise 2.
Bravo 5, clockwise 2, yep, same settings. Bravo 5, clockwise 2. Shane, go ahead. I can get 31 here in this position, and that's probably it. So, but I can come around the same. The other ones. I can get those 4 here. Okay. And then you get the one on your side. Okay. Stay out. For EV2, I got my large, small, adjustable, and my small adjustable. 2 Rosa on my workstation.
Copy, Shane.
And on M34 of good torque, 22.1 green lights, and 9.93 turns.
That was M31, green light, 9.13 on the turns.
Oh, M34. M34, 34.
I copy M34 and repeat the torque.
22.2.
22.2. Confirm black line flush.
Black line flush.
Copy M34.
Which is the next one, Jenny?
The remainder of the bolts, the order doesn't matter, but on your side, I show 36 through 38.
The labels and go. Keep going for 32. 32. It's my turn. Okay, tomorrow's going to get all the bolts except for 31. Just do. I'll get 31.
Copy.
Okay, that was M32. 22.4 turns and 12 revolutions. Black line. Black line flush, thanks.
Copy, and confirm green light and torque.
Green light and torque at 22.4.
Copy, 22.4 green light, that was M32.
Yep, correct. Okay. 33 is next. Hold it tomorrow. We'll have to push it up, otherwise it slides down the boat. Thanks for the help. Okay. Okay. 33. Yep. Good, Jenny, M33, green light 22.2, 11.87 revolutions, black line flush.
Copy, M33, torque 22.2, 11.87 on the turns, green light, black line flush.
Right, and Shane's gonna drive, next boat, she's M33.
This is Mission Control Houston, 4 hours, 41 minutes into the spacewalk.
Shane is driving.
Thomas Pesquet and Shane Kimbrough, both using pistol grip tools in tandem, driving a series of 8 attachment bolts to further structurally secure the new ISS rollout solar array to the mounting bracket at the base of the P6 truss structure. The array was unfolded and structurally secured to that mounting bracket. Now it's being mechanically attached through this series of 8 bolts.
Getting 22.0 on the torque, 11.04 turns, green light, black line flush.
Copy, and that's M31, 22 on the torque, 7.04 turns, green light, black line flush.
You want these now? You want stand by. Your key there.
Is it your plan to complete the remainder of the bolts, Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay, copy. So I
That's what we're
have
going to do.
Thomas driving M36 through 38, and Shane, you can start mating NZGL connectors on your side.
Okay, and then you have a Bravo 5 clockwise to M36.
Copy. Good readback.
Jenny, green light, 22.5 turns, 12 revolutions, black line flush, M36, getting ready for M37, you should confirm the same settings.
A-firm, same settings.
I'll wait on you tomorrow because I gotta go around the thing, driving bolts. That's right? Yeah, keep driving bolts. Okay, I keep driving bolts. Good, Shane. I got Bravo 5, clockwise 2 or M37.
Good words.
Jenny, and I have empty. A good green light, but low, kind of a lower torque-ish 20.1 at 14 revolutions. M37.
Copy. M37, 20.1 torque, 14 turns, and green light. Confirm black line flush.
Line flush, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
Copy.
I'm going to be working on sorry, the one that's outboard.
A-firm. That's M38. The final bolt, M38.
38. Same settings.
A-firm, same settings, Bravo 5, clockwise 2.
Bravo 5, clockwise 2. Work.
Shane, let me know when you're ready for NZGLs.
Well, I'm going to wait to get around safer until it's about done driving here.
Copy.
Jenny, you have black line flush, green light 22.4 turns, torque, and 12.83 turns on M38.
Copy. M38, 22.4 torque, 12.53 turns, green light, and black line flush. You can give Shane's PGT back to him if you haven't already, and we'll have you retrieve the adjustable tethers from the right strut side.
And do they go to Shane's bag, right? To my... doesn't matter. They have a truck bag or you...
Four hours, 48 minutes into the spacewalk, all of the attachment bolts have been securely driven by Pesquet and Kimbrough using their pistol grip tools. Next up, the start of the mating of new cables to the ISS rollout solar array connectors. These are connections that could be made while the International Space Station is flying in daylight. However, the eclipse or nighttime pass of the station is required before we mate new electrical cables to the existing large solar arrays on the station so that we have an integrated electronics path between the new array and the old solar arrays on the Port 6 truss of the complex.
Copy your checks, Shane.
You want onto the topmost. It's mated, levers, over.
Copy. P1 mated over center.
P2, 5, November 10, I-band.
Copy. Good checks on 2.
made it over center.
Copy.
And I've retrieved the large small AET on New York Station. Should you want the cables? Come over here. I don't hear you. You're breaking up, but I'm assuming cables.
Copy. You've retrieved your adjustables, Choma, and could we get a HECA power cycle and green light check?
Negative, Jenny. Just a large small. Just a large small.
Understood.
Just a small.
Understood, just a large small. Thank you, Tama. Could you power cycle your HECA and check green light, please?
Minutes. Shane on the cables. And you want them routed in front of the mid strut? Or? Yeah, that's perfect. Like this? Yep. Okay. Got the cables. Okay, Jenny, power cycle my head cut for you. Off. On.
Thank you, Tama. You can move on to picking up your other adjustable.
For T3, so sorry, no good fans, give me my van.
Good checks on 3.
Has made it over center on 3. Four, no fired, no bent 10, again.
Good checks on 4.
As we wait for the next nighttime pass of the station, consideration is being given to have the crew press ahead with the release of deployment launch restraints, a pair of bolts that would set the stage for the actual unfurling of the array, taking the sequence of events slightly out of the previously timelined sequence, but we'll get there. Everything is continuing to proceed for the deployment of this second IROSA or ISS rollout solar array for the 4B power channel on the International Space Station to join the initial array that was unfolded and unfurled on Sunday during the second of this set of 3 spacewalks.
You want me to get the scoop in front of me and show that?
Stand by, Shane. Okay, I have big picture words for both of you. You've done a great job getting our ROSA secure and making those NZGLs. We have 22 minutes until our working eclipse. So, Shane, you can egress the APFR, and we'll have you do the inventory on the crew lock bag. Thomas, you can get in position underneath the mounting bracket, and we are going to release R9. Obviously, we're not going to push with any other bolts on the base of the mounting bracket.
It's R9 only. Hey, tomorrow, over to you. Yeah, maybe not. No, I don't think I'll use it. Don't need it? Yeah. Wait, I don't see which one. Driving.
Thomas. They're going to be in your way, but as much as possible, avoid contact with those NZGLs that are attached.
Copy, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, for crew light bag 2, are you ready?
Not yet, Shane. We have quite a bit of time here, so I'm going to get you to hold for now. I have additional words for you, and I'll let you know when we can start.
You like this A-frame shape? Yeah, sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts. Take even. Okay. Those ETs back to your bag. I want to make the bag a lift. I don't want to have too many. Welcome to, this is going in the table bag. Yeah, okay, so let's do that. Okay, good. Here's the big one. Or small. Here's a small. Nice. Thanks, Shane.
All right, thanks for your patience, you two. We have more big picture words for you. Our PET is just under 5 hours, and our plan is to mate cables during the next eclipse, which is in just under 20 minutes. Following that, we will do 5 minutes of our shunt test, so that's waiting for insulation. We will drive the tensioning bolts, and then we will come inside with pretty minimal cleanup today. That puts us at an expected EVA full length of 7 hours and 10 minutes.
Sounds good, Jenny. Let's do this. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Essentially, at this time, we're trying to minimize your workload and your loading so that we can extend the time of this EVA, because we do have to wait for that eclipse and then that shunt test and insulation.
I understand, Jenny, and we're taking it, The inventory, Jenny,
Okay, I'm going to give Thomas words about R9 first. So, Thomas, you're going to be releasing R9 only. Your settings will be at Bravo 7 torque. So let me know when you're ready. You can get into a good position to brace.
Working on it. We'll hold off on that.
Shane, we are ready for the inventory when you are.
This is Mission Control Houston. Thomas Pesquet is going to release one of 2 launch restraints for the new ISS rollout solar array. You can see the 2 spacewalkers operating at the mounting bracket to which the new solar array has been structurally attached and bolted into place. We're about 14 minutes away from entering the next night pass, at which time we can begin to hook up the new electrical cables to the existing solar array that you see, the huge P6 solar arrays, to which the new IROSA, or ISS Rollout Solar Array, will be unfurled to augment power output for the 2B, in this case for the 4B power channel on the International Space Station. On the opposite side, the array that now is augmenting power, about 20 additional kilowatts of power for the 2B power channel, was installed and unfurled back on Sunday in the previous spacewalk, as we have just passed the 5-hour mark into today's excursion. The International Space Station has just flown off the coast of South America, over the Atlantic Ocean, moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator.
Affirm, Bravo 7, counter 2. For Shane, I'm still checking whether anything's missing from that crew lock bag.
Copy. Bravo 7, counter 2, 25.5 total program, Jenny.
So good readback on the settings, Thomas. We're looking to release R9 17 to 20 turns. A white line will appear when fully released.
Okay. Yeah, 20 turns on R9. I see the black line. It's fully released.
Copy. R9 is fully released, and you came in broken. What was your turn count?
The count was 22-0, and the white line is visible.
Copy. 22 turns on R9. You can stow your PGT, Thomas.
Copy, Jenny. 2-0 turns.
Copy. 2-0. Thank you, Thomas.
And one of two deployment launch restraint bolts has now been released. One bolt away from the point at which we can unfurl the array, but not before electrical connections are hooked up to the that will interconnect the new array with the existing P6 solar arrays. For that, we have to wait about another 10 minutes or so until we fly into an orbital sunset.
Initially, and those are now on Thomas' mini workstation. Could you just give us a count on what's on the outside of the bag again?
Jenny, that's negative. Actually, the call before was those tethers, those two AT from the right side of the mounting bracket are now back to the bag. They're on the crew lock bag, the two that were on my side. Yep, so total on the outside, 2 small adjustables and 1 large small adjustable.
Copy, thanks guys.
One of the ones that was out there initially is on my workstation with the wire tie, that whole setup in my trash bag.
Copy, we're happy with the bag config. All right, and we're still working on next steps for both of you. We think it might be adjusting the MLI and getting in position for the cables, but we're still around 12 minutes away from that working eclipse time period, so we're seeing if there's anything else we can do in the meantime.
Okay, Jenny. The MLI looks better on the right side than on the left side, but we'll fix it on both. Good offer, still in the crew lock bag. I know we have the seat still here, but we can put that on our mini workstation. Sounds right.
Copy, Shane. We think that's a really good idea. You can take the crew lock bag and close up the cable bag with it, and we will get you to put the scoop on your mini workstation after deployment.
Navigation. Good idea. I'll just be right over here. Yeah. And by one, hey, Danny, I don't know if you see my cap view, but on the center plate that the upper strut goes to, there's one bolt that's released M7. I got M5, M6, M8, but M7 is popped out.
Copy, Thomas.
This is Mission Control Houston, 5 hours, 6 minutes into today's spacewalk. Thomas Pesquet and Shane Kimbrough receiving updates from the flight control team here in Mission Control. The ISS rollout solar array you see very clearly at the base of the P6 truss structure, structurally bolted into place on its mounting bracket, as we are standing by for the release of one additional launch restraint, then moving into an orbital sunset, at which time electrical connectors mating the new cables for the solar array to the existing electronics for what is called the legacy solar array wing, or these huge solar arrays you see at the top of your screen that were delivered to the International Space Station back on the STS-97 mission, that will interconnect the new array with the older arrays. They will work in tandem with each other. This process of installing new rollout solar arrays is not to replace the old ones, but rather to augment their power output with an additional 20 kilowatts of power available for station systems and new modules to be launched to the space station.
At the cable bag at this time, we're going to have you retrieve the cap keepers with the caps from the cable bag, and you'll each have one on your mini workstation when we go to do these cables during the eclipse.
Copy. I've got a red to the crew lock bag on the cable bag. Put that in there.
Copy. Thomas, you can head to Shane to pick up that cap keeper as well. We have just over 7 minutes until our working eclipse time.
Okay, I have a cap keeper.
Copy, Shane. Once you both have a cap keeper, you can head to your position for the cables.
I'll get one on. I'll cross over to you, but just stay there. I'll come to you.
Five hours, 11 minutes into the spacewalk, about 5 minutes away from entering an orbital sunset, which will trigger the clock, enabling us to hook up the new electrical cables to the existing solar array wing electronics on the P6 truss of the station.
Once you both have your cap keepers, again, we're going to send you to position. We have 5 minutes until our working eclipse. And Thomas will take a glove hat check and gauntlet check.
Okay. Shane, I'm right here. Show the cap keeper. Okay. You have a rep on it? I do. It's all yours. I got it. Okay. And you have good gloves, eye up, and gauntlets are down.
Copy, Thomas. Good checks. 30 seconds till handover. Once we're back with you, I'll get one from Shane. We're back with you. I'll take the glove inspection hap check from Shane. 2 minutes and 30 seconds till working eclipse.
Hold on. I'll get to you in a second.
Take your time.
Jimmy, no change on the gloves and dry hat. Arms are down.
Copy. Good check, Shane.
Virginia, and the new switch cable, we know we're still what we're starting with and decide where it connects.
Yep. I'll have to give you a go once MCC goes around the room, but when the time is right, Thomas, you will be starting with P9, and Shane, you will be starting with P7.
Okay, and then we connect the site first.
You'll be mating the wire harness.
Now that we've entered an orbital eclipse or sunset, the ISS flying in darkness over the Earth, we can begin work now, Pesquet and Kimbrough, to begin the installation and connection of electrical cables from the new rollout solar array to the legacy array, the P6 solar arrays that have existed on the station for 2 decades.
And if we are in the case where we do not mate all the connectors during the eclipse, you must maintain a 1-foot keep-out zone from all the demated connectors 2 minutes prior and during installation.
Copy, Jay. 2 copies.
We're go for cables. Thomas, demate P9 from blanket box power panel P9.
Hey.
Likewise, Shane, demate P7 from blanket box panel P7.
Demated and have good pins. All the EMI, good EMI band on P9.
Copy.
To connect, generate.
You can mate P9 alpha to P9, Thomas.
And P7.
Copy, Shane.
P7 demated, looking at P7 alpha. Good EMI band. Good on the side.
Copy, Shane. Mate P7 alpha to P7.
Memory on this stuff, yeah. One that gave me trouble last time. P7 alpha is mated P7 with a good click.
Copy, good click, P7 alpha to P7.
Any next from me, J7 alpha? Right.
A-firm, I'll need your checks. You can mate J7 alpha to P7.
Any J9 alpha is mated to P9 is a good click.
Copy, P9 alpha to P9. Thomas, you can mate J9 alpha to P9 with good checks.
P9 alpha to P9, cable to cable, and I've got good pins in my band. Solid. Mark. 82, no solid, no bend pin in my band.
Good checks.
And P9 alpha, like J9 alpha connected to P9, good click, Jenny.
Copy, Thomas. You can move on to P23, demate it from power panel P23.
Demated. Any J7 alpha and P7 are connected, good click. Mating P.
Copy, and A-firm, Shane.
I'm mating P23 alpha to P23 Jenny, cable to panel.
A-firm.
Alright, mated, good click, Jenny. P23 alpha to P23 cable to panel.
Copy, P23 alpha to P23. Move on to J23 alpha to P23, and I'll take your check.
I got P21 alpha going to P21 solid. A band 10.
Copy checks.
And on P53, no fraud. DMI band, pins.
Good checks, Thomas.
And
Working in an orbital sunset period and eclipse period, Kimbrough and Pesquet have now hooked up electrical cables from the new IROSA rollout solar array to the legacy solar array on the P6 truss of the station. Next up will be the unfolding of the array, the unfurling of it to its full length of 60 feet.
here's one way on this one. Sorry, Jenny, I'm working on this. There's always one that's more trouble than the others.
Copy, Shane.
Okay, and J21 Alpha made one. Quick.
Copy, J21 Alpha made it to P21. Understand that that is your last connector as well. Well done, Shane. You can move to securing the strut MLI over the mod kit fasteners.
That's not. We have one more to go, Jenny. J21 Alpha to pins, no side, video my band.
Understand, Shane. Thank you.
Is there any MLIs now? Go to the best of my abilities using the integrated wire ties. Okay.
Copy, Thomas.
Jenny, my last mate was good. Good click.
Copy. So now that is J21 Alpha to P21, and as you say, your last connector is complete. You can move on to the strut MLI.
You have to careful from both sides at this time. One up, one down. Wire ties.
And Tomas, say your last. We think you're asking about the strut MLI on the lower strut. Is that right?
I get you, Jenny. I'm talking to Shane. Find what technique works for me. I jump by itself.
Understood.
Cable behind your elbow, Shane? Alright, tomorrow, well done there, buddy.
Well done, both of you. That is the eclipse requirement for this EVA. I'll have you stand by on next steps. Again, we need to wait for Spartan to do the shunt test prior to deploy.
Copy, Jenny. Copy. Should we put the cap keepers back in the bag in the meantime, or go? Like who to use? Well, we can stand by.
This is Mission Control Houston, 5 hours, 24 minutes into the spacewalk. All of the electrical cables have now been mated between the new rollout solar array and the existing solar arrays on the P6 truss of the International Space Station, in this case for the 4B power channel of the station. This is the second of 6 planned new rollout solar arrays to be installed and unfurled at the station at various points on the port and starboard trusses of the complex to augment the power capability of the orbital outpost. We now will have our electrical systems officer conduct a shunt test to measure electrical resistance flowing through the new array before the final launch restraint bolt is released to begin the unfurling of the solar blanket to its full length of 60 feet, and then the tensioning of that blanket.
I got you. We should have a red chain. Thank you. From the bag, the empty hook right there. No, that's the bag, but that's the bag here. Bag. We kept the one on them. Come on, you need it? That's right on the corner there, or whatever that is. Sorry. Do you want me to cat the cat keeper, or do you want the red? No. Yeah, let's see the cat keeper in a minute. Okay. Because you're broken up, so that free hook there. Yeah. Give it to me, and we'll do it across, kind of cross drop to full hook here. There you go. I can't do it. So one hook. Got it? Yep. Okay. For a hook. I didn't copy any of it, Shane. I'm sorry, but you're. We'd like for a hook for you now. Oh, okay. Amen. Got a bunch of rats in there. There must be a wash. Hey, Jenny, how's it looking?
I have big picture words for you both when ready.
You could use You could use and if you have a gearing free on an adjustable, you can use one of the hooks of the cap keeper itself, right? Those cap keepers were those and etc. I'm sure that's what I was looking for was an adjustable. Pull all this out. Okay, Jenny, go ahead.
All right, we have 17 minutes until Spartan can start the shunt test, so until this eclipse ends. We expect that shunt test will take at least 5 minutes. Right now, your PET is 5 hours and 30 minutes. Limiting consumable, EV2's battery, 7 hours, 53 minutes. What we're talking now is once that shunt test is complete, it'll probably take around 10 minutes for the final bolt and 15 minutes to deploy. Then we need to drive the tensioning bolts. We're thinking about having just one of you outboard during the deployment so that we can get a head start, bringing Shane back closer to the airlock, taking with him the cable bag and maybe an APFR, so being closer to the port CETA cart for the actual deployment. That just makes our cleanup steps easier because, again, we're running close to where we want to bring you inside once the deployment is actually complete. We'll have the details for you shortly, but if you have comments, let us know.
Oh, that sounds good, Jenny. Jenny's retrieving the cap keeper right now. Number 2. That sounds good.
Copy. And Shane, did you copy the big picture plan?
BT copy.
All right, we are going to put this plan into work. Shane, you're going to take the cable bag and bundle it to the APFR in width 37, which is the one just inboard of the mounting bracket. You'll bundle those together, put them on your BRT, and then head inboard holding at the port CETA cart.
Yeah, that's enough. Good, and I'm in the APFR for you, Shane. I'm getting the one right there. Yeah, 37 is the one right here.
Affirm. Tama, that means that you'll be releasing the final deployment bolt and tensioning the bolts on your own. And you'll also be retrieving the scoop from the base of the mounting bracket and stowing it on your mini workstation.
Good. I can read. And if you give me a...
This is Mission Control Houston, just past the 5.5-hour mark in the spacewalk by Pesquet and Kimbrough. Jenny Seide, the spacewalk communicator, Canadian Space Agency astronaut, has been guiding the two spacewalkers through their procedures and the revisions to those procedures. The decision was made to try to maximize and create efficiencies for the remainder of the spacewalk by having Pesquet release a final launch restraint bolt for the newly installed rollout solar array for the 4B power channel on the International Space Station. While he is working to release that final bolt and monitor the actual unfurling of the array to its full distance of 60 feet, followed by the releasing of a pair of tensioning bolts that will enable full tensioning for the array, Shane Kimbrough will begin cleanup procedures. There is a sequential number of events from this point until the end of the spacewalk to ensure that the crew has gathered all of the tools and tethers that they've used throughout the course of the installation of the array and the upcoming events that will lead to its unfurling and tensioning.
Or key. Tomorrow.
Say what?
Hey, what are you up to? What are you doing?
So I'm going to stay here and release R10, but not now when everything checks out, I think.
Yeah, okay.
And he's playing.
Use a hand if you're not doing anything.
Oh, yeah.
Online the beast.
Yeah, of course. I'll be right there.
And we agree there's no other steps for Thomas until we're releasing that final bolt, and we're still over 10 minutes away. So you two can work together to get Shane in a good config to translate inboard to the port CETA card.
Absolutely. Awesome. Need to pop it off. Put it on the beer.
I didn't copy Shane, sorry.
Said I might need to pop it off the BRT, but we'll see. Better keep it. I just want to put, like 2 straps. Wait.
The bag on the good plate, or?
Yeah. When I start is easy.
Yep.
So, I don't have the bag yet.
No, the bag is still attached to structure.
Yeah, I've got 2 places it's attached to.
Got one AT on that side to the bag. You can release one, it's still tethered and have a hand on it.
Okay, so one of them, and there's still one attached over here.
There's one on my side.
It's attached as well?
Yeah, it's attached.
And I'm going to undo this one then as well. Both of mine are going to be, right?
You're breaking up. Did you say both of yours are released?
Yeah, both of mine are released, so do not release yours.
Okay, it's not released. Okay.
Alright, got one hooked, connected.
Okay.
One on there.
Side you want?
Wires There's something on your side. I'm still connected here. Still connected? You want me to release that? Yeah, you can now, because it's connected to the PSR. Yep. Okay. So I can release this one, you can use it. Alright, you ready? Control the bag, I have a hand on the bag. Very good. Oh, we have time. Make it nice and snug. Alright, so I've got tied down on two places. Still pretty loose, but work. Got a third one if you want at the corner, but I have a VRT to and I'm ready for the and I went through there. Got the English ladies under the handrail, Shane. Yeah, I see that. I can.
So Shane, we're following that your cable bag is bundled to the APFR. Tomas helping you with the ingress aid, and you're picking up your local and your fare lead, correct?
That's what I'll do. Not there yet, Jenny. I can't get there with the. I get to the. This thing's a little twist. Right twist. Free. Big fluffy bag, red shell on your suspension. Yeah, that's a big. Nice and slow. Alright, let me get my air lead here.
Copy, Shane. We have 5 minutes until the end of our eclipse.
Beginning at my fair lead. Start heading. Broke up after fair lead, Shane. Okay, I'm gonna head inboard. Peace. Back on the radiator. For your feet.
Toma, we can have you get in position for R10. We still have a ways to go until Spartan is going to complete that test. It's over 5 minutes away.
Okay, I'm heading out, inboard, looking good.
Copy. Shane, on your way inboard, remember to undo your fare leads you might have put in and pick up your green hook.
Okay, copy all that, Jimmy.
Shane, your green hook is on 5388, and once you get to the port CETA cart, we will be installing the APFR into a whiff.
Copy that, Jenny. And Shane, the SSIMS APFR is now really in the way, but it's going to be on your translation route, so don't be surprised. Oh yeah, thanks, Thomas. And I got your safety tether here. I'm feeling that's clear.
"45 seconds to hand over."
Copy. Copy. Okay, I'm at my green hook location tomorrow. Sounds good. Okay, my green hook is connected to my red reel unlocked. Copy.
Back with you.
That again, actually, because it's
Back with you after the handover.
this one under your tether. What are you saying, Shane? I'm going to redo that because I trapped your tether there. Yeah. All right.
Ground copies. Sun should be coming up in around 30 seconds.
5 hours, 49 minutes into the spacewalk. We're about to fly into an orbital sunrise and resume work to complete the installation and unfurling of this second ISS rollout solar array that has been structurally bolted into place on a mounting bracket at the base of the P6 truss of the International Space Station. Thomas Pesquet has one more bolt to release, a deployment launch restraint bolt. At that point, we should begin to hear and see the unfurling of the array to its full length of about 60 feet. Following that, there will be the release of 2 tensioning bolts to provide full tensioning for the new array.
Jenny, I think I'm going to have to undo my red hook to unravel this. Put a waist tether down, I'll lock it. Instruction taken.
Copy, Shane.
That's down. I'm going to release my I'd head from my left E-ring there, route it around the other.
It looks like we just had a good test from Spartan, so that means, Thomas, we can release the final bolt for deployment. Shane, you can keep working your tether and then head to the port CETA cart when ready.
Jenny, those are great news, and I'm ready for PGT settings.
Bravo 7, counter 2.
Bravo 7, counter 2. 25.5 foot pounds. And how many turns do you want on the 10?
Until fully released, we have written 17 to 20, but last time it was more. A white line should appear when fully released.
Copy.
The electrical systems officer here in Mission Control has given the green light for the unfurling of the new rollout solar array once this final launch restraint bolt is released by Thomas Pesquet. You see him using a pistol grip tool as we speak to complete that work. It should take between 6 and 10 minutes or so for the array to fully deploy. The first array that was installed for the 2B power channel on the P6 truss on Sunday took 10 minutes to deploy.
Hey, Jenny, I think I get the tether cleared up. Jenny. Hi, Shane. Stepping on you. You're good. Let's see how I deploy.
Copy, we're watching it, Thomas, and copy the tether, Shane. Thomas, you can stow your PGT.
Now you see the second of the new ISS rollout solar arrays beginning its deployment. Pent-up stored energy in that system enables the array to deploy on its own once that final bolt was released. The deployment beginning at 12:45 p.m. Central Time. We'll see how long it takes.
Jenny, I see the 4 magnets together on the right side. I'm going to go check on the left side. If you want.
Copy, Thomas.
I can see them snap together on the left side too, from here.
Great news, Thomas, and from our view, deployment's looking excellent.
Cool. Beautiful.
Shane, once you're at the port CETA cart, we're going to be installing the APFR in the inboard zenith with 3.
copy. Yeah, I'm gonna, to minimize the load into the melting brackets, I'm gonna just stay here, if that's fine.
Copy, Thomas. Thomas, if it doesn't impart loads that you're talking about into the mod kit, you can ret to and release the scoop on the base side of the mounting bracket. You'll stow that on your mini workstation. We'll also have you inspect the left strut MLI.
The new solar array, the rollout solar array, the second in the series of 6 to be installed at the International Space Station.
Something, maybe a wire tie needed.
It weighs 750 pounds of mass back on Earth, unfurling to a length of about 60 feet, 20 feet wide, providing some 20 additional kilowatts of power for the 4B channel of the International Space Station.
So Jenny, if I want to go, so you want me to go and modify the MLI on the mid strut, is that correct?
A-firm.
Okay, so I'd rather do this before removing the scoop. I have to go a long ways away and...
A-firm, Thomas, you can do it prior to the scoop. We just wanted to take into account you wanting to stay in one spot, but we think adjusting the MLI now is best.
Hey Jenny, I'm Zenith inboard. That's the one you want, correct?
A-firm, with 3.
There's no whiff number on it. No. I can see.
That's the correct width, Shane.
Hey, what's the talking?
12.
The unfurling of the second new ISS rollout solar array continues. The International Space Station flying 255 statute miles over the southern Bering Sea.
That's 12 o'clock, Jenny, black on black, good pull and twist test.
Copy, Shane. That is a good APFR install. I have other settings for you when ready.
Let me get this other bag off first.
Copy. And for both of you, deployment is still looking great, and we are getting good power from the solar array. So we have a lot of happy faces down here. Well done, both of you.
The electrical systems officer here in Mission Control reporting a good power generation from the new array, even as its unfurling continues.
From the front. I fixed it a little bit. It's better than it was.
Understood, Thomas.
You're happy?
Yep, all we're looking for is best effort, so that looks good to us.
Okay.
Toma, we're still deploying. Your next steps will be to get in position for the blanket tensioner bolts, R11 and R12.
Okay, so I think that's one more reason to keep the scoop for now.
Yep, you'll need to retrieve the scoop before going back inside, but you can do it after the blanket tensioner bolts as well.
Okay. Still deploying. Hey, big Shane. Good, I'm just unbundling the cable bag right now. Looks like the deployment is complete, Jenny. I see the mantle from a different color, and the motion is stopped.
Copy, Toma. We're doing our final check.
The second ISS rollout solar array now fully deployed.
Okay, Toma, you are
We're
right.
double checking the dimensions. It appears to be fully deployed, and it took 10 minutes again, just as the first array did back on Sunday.
Ready for setting, Jenny?
Alpha 1, clockwise, or counter, excuse me.
Thomas Pesquet now will use a pistol grip tool to release two tensioning bolts that will provide full tensioning for the newly deployed blanket. And at that point, the crew will begin cleanup work. So everything went exceedingly well with the installation and deployment of this second ISS solar array, the rollout solar array, the second of 6 to be installed at the International Space Station.
Indigo, Fox 11.
All right. R12 release, up there, Jenny.
Copy, R12 released.
Ready for R11, is that the same setting?
Tell them what they were. What are they?
Hey, Jenny.
Okay, Toma, we're ready for you to release our 11 as well. And Shane, no more action with the APFR. We can continue inboard.
Okay, Jenny, same setting on R11. Question from Tor.
Affirm, Alpha 1, counter 2. Same settings.
Alpha 1, counter 2. R11, work.
Then you have 4 times. And I can confirm on both sides the tension mechanism is released.
Copy. 4 turns. R11 is released. Well done, Thomas. You can stow your PGT and retrieve that scoop.
North.
So I'm at the MT, heading back.
Copy.
Flight controllers here in Mission Control now report good tensioning on the newly deployed solar array blanket.
Jenny has that scoop.
Copy, Thomas. Great work. You can stow that on your mini workstation. Just so you know, you will not be retrieving any APFRs for your cleanup steps. We're just going to have you translate inboard, pick up your green hook, and pick up the crew lock bag on the FSE.
Copy. How you doing, sir? All good?
Good, I'm just past the starboard Kita cart. Heading. Well done out there, buddy.
Yeah, that was fun.
Again, great work, you two. Our PET is now 6 hours and 9 minutes. Limiting consumables, still EV2 battery, 7 hours, 53 minutes.
Just waiting back. Let's look at the work site. Looks clean. We left nothing behind. I'm on my way.
Copy, Thomas, that you are headed inboard. I'm back with you after the handover. Before that handover, I gave you a PET of 6 hours, 10 minutes, and limiting consumable EV2 battery, 7 hours, 53 minutes.
Copy. I'm back inboard now, Thomas.
Now I'm coming back in board. Faster rate PSR. It stays there.
Good words.
My green.
Copy, you're at your green hook, Thomas.
I'm a Cedarburg, ready for your words.
Copy, Cedarburg for Shane.
Jenny, I'm guessing I'm picking my green hook and I'm attaching it to my red reel, is that correct?
Affirm, Thomas, you'll be picking up your green hook, and then we have you picking up the crew lock bag at the FSE.
Yeah. Okay, my green hook is on my red reel. Red reel is unlocked. My yellow hook is locked on my green reel. My green reel is unlocked. And the red hook is still on my left gear extender. Locked.
Sounds good, Thomas. Continue inboard.
Thermal cover is open.
This is Mission Control Houston, 6 hours, 13 minutes into today's spacewalk by Shane Kimbrough and Thomas Pesquet. Mission accomplished with the second of the new ISS rollout solar arrays having been fully unfurled and tensioned into place, now providing additional power for the 4B power channel on the P6 truss of the International Space Station, which is currently crossing the border between Colorado and Oklahoma, moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator at an altitude of 255 miles. The two spacewalkers executed today's activities in flawless fashion. All the hardware cooperated. Their suits behaved perfectly, and everything has fallen into place with two new solar arrays now deployed at the station, 2 out of 6. The next pair that will be launched on a future SpaceX cargo flight will be designed to be installed on the P4, the port 4 and starboard 4 trusses of the station to augment power for the 4A and 3A power channels on the International Space Station.
I'm Jimmy. My waist tether connected to the airlock waist tether, closed and locked on all 4 hooks. I have a good load path to the airlock.
Copy, Shane.
And here in the flight control room, the electrical systems officer, who goes by the call sign of Spartan, reports great power generation from both the new and old solar arrays on the P6 truss. Everything has performed perfectly to this point. Good power generation from the 2 new ISS rollout solar arrays.
We're still talking about picking up that APFR, which is at the airlock, the one which is on the WIFX and which is sticky. That's what's giving us pause on your next step, Shane. So I will just put that to you, see how you guys feel. Understand, Thomas, you still need to pick up the crew lock bag, and you'll be bringing in the safety tethers as well.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near the airlock right now.
I have time to do it. I think I'll reach on this, right?
Shane, my understanding is you should be able to reach it because of the daisy chained waist tethers, but I'm getting a final check for you.
Yeah, I'm on the FSE.
Copy, Thomas. It should give you the reach, Shane, in order to reach the APFR.
I'll give it a shot.
We appreciate it. Thanks.
Back with our downlink video capability from the International Space Station, Shane Kimbrough doing some cleanup work. He and Thomas Pesquet now will begin the process of gathering tools and tethers, other equipment used in today's spacewalk as they slowly make their way back toward the Quest airlock to wrap up today's excursion, the third in 9 days for this pair of spacewalkers. This was the 9th spacewalk out of the International Space Station this year, the 9th in Kimbrough's career, and the 5th for Pesquet, all of them having been conducted with Shane Kimbrough, the first 2 spacewalks for Pesquet, and occurring in 2017 with Shane Kimbrough.
Yeah, I have a tether on the APFR, Jenny. You just want me to release it and put it in the airlock, correct?
Affirm, Shane. We're just bringing that inside to do some tests on it.
On Thomas.
Doing good. Working on that scoop. On an AET. Throw it in the bag and then bag.
Ground copies, Thomas.
Okay.
Jenny, the APFR is headed to the airlock.
Copy. Great work, Shane.
We got that thing in here for you.
Yeah. Torque signal.
All right, Shane, and I have confirmation now that you have stowed that APFR, you can ingress the airlock.
Okay, Jenny, I'm in.
Sounds good. Well done. Shane, you can turn off your HECA if not already complete.
Okay, it's off. How you doing, Thomas?
Pretty good. Returning the bag now. My BRTs, my BRT red. I'll go ahead and stow that behind me. Okay. And I'm going to head back to the airlock.
Copy. Thomas, on your way inboard, make sure that you press the inboard CETA cart brake releases on both the port and the starboard cart twice.
Copy. Place on the inboard CETA cart.
Affirm the inboard brake release pedal on both CETA carts.
Copy. Okay. Actually place on the
Copy.
port CETA cart. Making my way under the MT. The starboard CETA cart. How you doing, Shane? Good?
I'm in the airlock. I'm all good.
Alright. Starboard CETA cart pedal, you press twice.
Copy. Thomas, your next steps are at your anchor hooks.
Okay. I'm at the anchor hook, 7 point.
Copy. And Shane has a good load pass to the airlock, so on his go, you can remove his anchor hook from handrail 3651 and attach it to your red reel where your green hook is attached, or your waist tether.
Copy. You have your go?
You have a go?
Alright, Shane, your yellow hook is down, my red reel locked, black on black, red reel is unlocked.
Copy, Thomas. You can retrieve your anchor hook and stow it on your mini workstation.
My anchor hook is on my mini workstation, Jenny.
Copy. Continue your translation to the airlock.
Shane, are you hooked up to the SCU or not?
No, I'm not.
No?
He's on that call.
Okay.
Number, yeah, no hurry.
Regarding the SCU, there's no pressure to get on it as our consumables are in good shape, and we just want to give you lots of flexibility to maneuver in the airlock with the APFR in there. So it's up to you.
Good, Jenny. And your call.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it now.
We copy, Shane.
ASU is on and marked.
Copy, Shane.
I'm going down to see a spare, Jenny.
Copy. Tama, we see you almost back at the airlock. You'll be handing in your crew lock bag to Shane.
Shane, I'm at the airlock.
All right, welcome back.
Thank you. There's a crew lock bag.
Clear. Good.
You want to keep you up that soon, sorry.
Fair enough.
What?
You want me to let it go?
I can't hear what you're saying.
You want me to let it go so you can get it?
Yeah, no, that's good. You can put a wrap on it.
Yeah. Let it wrap.
Okay. I'll release my BRT.
I have the bag.
Yeah, and can you release my BRT? Right?
Sure will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. My journey that is complete.
Copy, Tama. You can turn your HECA off and ingress the airlock. When you do so, verify the forward hatch pit pins engaged.
Alright, there's looks good. Forward pit pin is engaged. No problem. Work on my HECA. Now, Jenny, that wire tie stays outside, or do you want me to bring it back in?
That'll stay outside.
Shane, I'm going to ingress. If you can scoot as much.
I'm forward and the bags are aft.
Okay.
Plenty of room. Keep the bags.
Okay, I'm in. Now, I'll grab the thermal cover.
Copy.
Okay.
Tama, attach the hook to the magnetic D ring, cinch the strap until snug, and report the number of Sharpie lines visible.
Okay, good work. And my legs change down towards the maker.
Pull them down.
Yeah.
All right. How's that?
Good. Thanks. We're pulling me back out. Line 6 lines visible. You copy, Jenny?
Say again, Tama.
Line visible.
Tama,
Close the hatch.
we need to check the clearance around the thermal cover closure. We're tracking that there might be something interfering with the magnets. We understand the strap.
No, it doesn't close. It just doesn't. It's like the previous 3 days. It doesn't stay close. The magnets don't do their job. And the AT, you cannot, it's fully cinched. Every time.
Tama, there is a strap which is just outside. Could you pull that in? Thank you. You got it.
Actually, the strap of the D-ring doesn't change much, Jenny. If you breathe, it opens.
That is a good config now, Tama.
Okay.
Tama, you can connect to your SCU.
Where's my SCU? Right there. No. I think it's between my legs right here. That's what it is? Yep, that's it. Okay, got it. Connected to the SCU.
Copy. With both of you on the SCU, a note, a TCV setting of 8 max cold minimizes time for SCU cooling. You can both switch water off, forward, expect H2O is off message.
Copy. V1, H2O is off.
This is Mission Control Houston, 6 hours, 37 minutes. The clock's still running on today's spacewalk. A view inside the equipment block section of the Quest airlock as Mark Vandehei, closest to the hatch, and Station Commander Aki Hoshide from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency await the closing of of the hatch and the start of the repressurization of the crew lock section of Quest that will mark the official end of today's spacewalk. Our coverage will continue through the point at which the crew is back inside the equipment lock and their helmets are removed. Everything has gone splendidly with today's excursion, the 241st in the history of the International Space Station, with the second of the new ISS rollout solar arrays having been installed and unfurled in perfect fashion. Everything went like a charm, and both the first array that was installed and deployed on Sunday and the second of these three spacewalks by Pesquet and Kimbrough and today's activities have produced two healthy arrays that are now generating 20 kilowatts of power apiece to augment the power capability of the International Outpost.
Thank you. Well done, Mark and Megan. That was really good. Incredible. Unbelievable.
Okay, I'm tracking. Your 2-minute timer is up. So, Thomas, verify the outer hatch is clear of hardware and the handle position is per the hatch decal.
Okay. Outer hatch is cleared of hardware and the handle is per the hatch decal.
Close and lock the hatch.
It works. Thanks, Shane. Nicely done. And the hatch is notched. Handle is locked.
Copy. Hatch closed and locked. Shane, on the UIA, check oxygen for EMU 1 and 2. Both valves should be open.
Both are open.
The hatch to the Quest airlocks crew lock section is now closed.
Copy.
The two spacewalkers, Kimbrough and Pesquet, on the other side of the hatchway to the equipment block. Mark Van de Heijn now joined by Megan MacArthur, who drove the Canadarm2 robotic arm with Pesquet at the end as he carried the new ISS solar array, the second of these two new rollout arrays, to the P6 or Port 6 Truss worksite, where he and Shane Kimbrough worked to structurally install the new array onto a mounting bracket at the base of the P6 truss, and then worked with bolts and tensioning mechanisms to help unfurl the array and get it fully tensioned.
Okay, copy. With that, I will hand you back to your very capable suit IVs. Thanks again, everybody. Great job today.
Thanks, Eddie. You're welcome. Thanks, everyone.
All right, gentlemen, fantastic job. We're looking forward to getting you back inside. The next step to do that is go put your O2 actuators in.
volume speeds. Attention. CSCU gets EV2.
Copy EV2 in press.
EV1 press.
Copy EV1 is in press. Tomas, check that the EV hatch MPEV is closed.
By marketing and press the press position.
I'm sorry, Tomas, I think I copied you said the O2 actuator is in press for you.
Yes, correct.
Okay, now Tomas, check that your EV hatch MPEV is closed.
The hatch MPEV is closed.
Okay, I'm going to start repressing. It's going to be very loud for us. We won't hear you as well as you can talk to each other. So if you need me to stop, give me a closed fist in the window, Shane, and Tomas, you'll have to tell Shane if you need that.
Okay, Shane, if I'm squeezing your feet like crazy. Okay. You can talk to me.
All right, here we go.
Nothing at 5, Mark.
Sorry, say again?
Nothing at 5.0.
We'll give you a warning before we get to 4, and then we'll tell you when we're stopping at 5.
Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. The repressurization of the Quest airlock is underway, marking the official end of today's spacewalk at 6 hours, 45 minutes. The spacewalk ending at 1:37 p.m. Central Time, 2:37 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, repressurization of the Quest airlock's crew lock section underway, marking the official end of today's spacewalk at 6 hours, 45 minutes.
All right, gentlemen, when we get to 4 PSI, you can expect an alert tone.
Okay, copy.
Okay, we got to 5 PSI. The IV hatch equalization valve is now off. We're going to wait for 2 minutes for the crew lock pressure to stabilize. And you should expect an alert tone.
Copy. Copy.
right, gents, we had our 2 minutes for the crew lock pressure to stabilize. We're checking the pressure right now. We're going to wait another minute to make sure it doesn't change too much.
Copy. Copy.
Okay, gents, we had a good leak check. You can take your glove heaters to off.
Off CV1, off CV2.
Check your gloves for contamination and report to Houston.
IV1, I have no glove contamination, good gloves all around. Same for EV2.
Copy. Both of you take your O2 actuators to IV.
This is Mission Control Houston. The repressurization of the Quest airlock is continuing in good fashion. Shane Kimbrough and Thomas Pesquet safely back inside following a 6-hour, 45-minute spacewalk today to install and unfurl the second of the 2 new ISS rollout solar arrays. We have statistics for you. This was the 241st spacewalk in support of ISS assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. The 9th spacewalk conducted out of the International Space Station this year. This was the 9th spacewalk in Shane Kimbrough's career. He now has a total of 59 hours and 28 minutes of spacewalking time, which ties him for 6th on the all-time list with Russian cosmonaut Fyodor Yurchikhin. Thomas Pesquet now with 5 spacewalks to his log, a total of 33 hours even of spacewalking time. The 241 spacewalks in ISS history now have totaled 1,519 hours and 41 minutes, which is the equivalent of 63 days, 7 hours, and 41 minutes of spacewalking time. And we just received this photo from NASA headquarters photographer Joel Kowski, who shot the International Space Station in transit across the sun during the course of today's spacewalk. A dramatic view of the International Space Station while Shane Kimbrough and Thomas Pesquet were conducting their work outside of the International Outpost.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just hanging.
Okay, when the DPGT becomes approximately 0, you can expect an alert tone.
Copy. Sounds good. I'll keep the APFR out of the way.
The Quest Airlock's crew lock section now has been repressurized. We'll be standing by for the opening of the hatch and for Megan MacArthur and Mark Vandehei to assist Shane Kimbrough and Thomas Pesquet back inside the equipment lock. Again, the spacewalk concluding at 1:37 p.m. Central Time, 2:37 p.m. Eastern Time at 6 hours 45 minutes.
Houston, airlock on Space Ground 1. We're ready for your comm reconfig and step 4 of closed BVA.
Houston copies. That is in work. I'll call you when they are no longer hot mic.
Copy, thanks.
Shane Kimbrough now back inside the equipment lock with the hatch open. Thomas Pesquet waiting his turn.
Airlock Houston, Space Ground 1 crew is no longer hot mic.
Copy, thanks.
This is Mission Control Houston. The two spacewalkers, Shane Kimbrough on the left, Thomas Pesquet on the right, have now had their helmets removed, safely back inside the equipment lock section of Quest, wrapping up a flawless 6-hour, 45-minute spacewalk in which they installed and unfurled the second of the two new ISS rollout solar arrays for the 4B power channel on the International Space Station. So over the course of the past 9 days, the two crew members from Expedition 65 conducted 3 spacewalks to install the first pair of what ultimately will be 6 new solar arrays to augment the station power capability, 20 kilowatts apiece from each of these new arrays. With that, we'll begin to wrap up our coverage here with a couple of programming notes. The end of today's spacewalk is just the beginning of a huge amount of work over the course of the next several weeks aboard the International Space Station. Next up will be this coming Tuesday, June 29th, a doubleheader on tap. The SS Katherine Johnson, Northrop Grumman's Cygnus cargo craft, is scheduled to be released by robotic ground controllers here in Mission Control with our NASA television coverage beginning at noon Eastern Time this coming Tuesday. The release time, 12:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Cygnus will spend 2 days transiting for a deorbit on the night of July 1st. Later that evening on Tuesday, June 29th, we'll carry live coverage from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan of the launch of the unpiloted ISS Progress 78 cargo craft by Roscosmos, with our coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, a launch scheduled at 7:27 p.m. Eastern, which will be 4:27 a.m. Baikonur time on June 30th. That will lead to a 34-orbit transit for the new resupply ship that will be loaded with almost 2 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the crew members aboard the International Space Station, and the first ever docking by Progress to the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the International Space Station. The docking is scheduled on Thursday, July 1st, with our coverage beginning at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Link up the automated docking scheduled at 9:03 p.m. Eastern Time. All of that coming up on NASA television this coming week. And we always urge you to follow all of the activities for the crew members on board the International Space Station on our website at www.nasa.gov. So with that, we'll conclude our coverage today, a 6-hour, 45-minute spacewalk by Shane Kimbrough and Thomas Pesquet. 2 new ISS rollout solar arrays now complementing the power capability of the International Outpost. With that, we'll call it a day. Have a great weekend and a safe weekend. All the best from us here at Mission Control in Houston.